Hey everybody, what's going on? TJ here from Midlife Karting Crisis. Wanted to drop you a short video here because I haven't talked to you forever. During this COVID-19 thing, there hasn't been a lot of racing going on, so there hadn't really been a whole lot to talk about. And we picked up some new subscribers during that time. So I want to thank everyone that's jumped on the channel and let you know that, yeah, it's still active. We're still putting up content. It's just kind of like with everything else in the world right now, everything's kind of ground to a halt. But as you can see behind me, we've got a shifter card here. I'm going to tell you what we're doing to it.
All right, this is our Aero Honda CR125. The cylinder and head on this were upgraded to 2001. The idea to give it a little more power, a little more top end. If you're a new follower to this channel, I race pretty much exclusively in the Championship Enduro Series in the Midwestern part of the United States, which is what we call road racing, or the big race tracks at cars like the SCCA, Sports Car Club of America, IMSA. Those karts run Mid-Ohio, Blackhawk, the Roval at Charlotte, racetracks like that. The big race we do each year is Mid-Ohio, and then we run the 24-hour Daytona racetrack right in between Christmas and New Year. So that's the kind of racetracks we run on, bigger tracks, higher speeds than your typical what we call sprint kart track around here, which is your quarter-mile up to a half-mile track. This kart became mine just a couple of years ago. Now to backtrack again for you new followers, I did not race at all last year due to an injury I sustained playing ice hockey. Broke my ankle in March and was not able to be off of crutches or a walking boot until the first part of August. So rather than try to thrash together to make one or two races, just decided that we would not race in 2019 and focus all efforts on getting ready on 2020. Now, one of the things we were able to find over the off season was what hopefully will be a cure to one of our problems, and that is this fitting right here. You may not be able to see it, but right where my finger is, that is a vacuum fitting. Or not vacuum fitting, but that is a fitting for a vacuum line that runs the fuel pump. What we found is that was extremely loose, so it probably was not pulling air, or in this case, pumping the fuel pump, which is right up here, like it should have been. We were having all kinds of issues with what we determined were just inaccurate exhaust gas readings as well as water temperatures. The reason we know that is because had the numbers on the gauges been correct, that engine would have been a big pile of molten aluminum. So that wasn't the case. The engine ran pretty decent. We upgraded it in the middle of the season. Right about this time last year, Jim Perry at Chicago Kart Technologies, that's him right there, CKT, upgraded this, and there's a lot of work that goes into the cylinder and the head to convert a 99, which the bottom end of this is, up to 2001, which should give us a little more top end power, which for the racetracks we drive, I mentioned earlier, is much better. As I mentioned, we did nothing to this kart last year. Essentially sat all year as it did. It came off the racetrack. I power washed it, sprayed it down with a metal protectant just to kind of protect it, and then turned around as it was about ready to time to get ready for the season last year is when I got hurt, so wasn't able to do so. So what we've been doing essentially, I look at us with budgetary constraints, with the COVID thing that's popped up. Essentially my side gig that pays for all my racing went away. So our plan is to try to get to one, maybe two events this year. So we're just taking our time getting ready. One of the problems I had last year was just having a real hard time feeling the brake pedal. And what I mean on that is, as I would push down the brake pedal to slow down for a corner, I didn't feel any feedback through the pedal, which was just very unsettling. This kart is a little different than the one you see sitting right over there. That's what I ran in this series the first year, which would have been 2017. This has a fixed rear rotor, whereas that other kart didn't. Now, interesting thing about this chassis is a 2006, but it only has the one season I ran on it. Same for the motor. Long story short, gentleman bought this, put it in a trailer, and there it sat until I took possession of it. So it is a new old kart, I guess, for lack of a better term. What's great about road racing is you do not need the latest, greatest chassis to go out and be competitive. In fact, that chassis over there is a 2008, and I won a race my first year racing it in the Championship Enduro Series. But the problem we kept having is the brake pads would not recenter. And if you look down here, you may not be able to see it, but it almost looks like the disc is offset this direction, but it's not. It's actually centered in the caliper. The problem we're having is the brake pad itself not returning. So those are coming off. We're going to rebuild those calipers. While we're at it, we're going to go ahead and rebuild the internals on both front calipers as well. And basically, we're just going to do a cleanup, do a thorough nut and bolt check on the chassis here. Make sure everything is tightened up, snugged up, safety wired up, and all that fun stuff. And we will be ready to go. We are anticipating our first race being in August at Blackhawk Farms up in South Benoit. I think it's how it's pronounced, South Benoit, Illinois, which is practically in Wisconsin. But if you're familiar with that racetrack, for these 125 shifters, that track was built for this. It's just perfect for these type of karts. So I really enjoy running there. I've had some success running there and looking forward to getting back to it. So that's going to be a good time getting out there. But right now, again, we're just going to make sure that the radiator's flushed out and all clean, and nuts and bolts, make sure everything's tightened up, ready to rock and roll. After that, we're going to do something about these graphics. Again, these are the original graphics with a couple of exceptions. I added the CKT sticker. This is my sticker for my AMSOIL dealership. Please be kind enough to visit winningsynthetics.com if you're here in the United States. And we will love to help you out with some AMSOIL stuff and hopefully pay for some of the racing we're going to be doing. But yeah, all these are going to come off. There's my number. Of course, my broadcast partner over at Real Kart Racing, Greg Wright of Rapid Racing. Riley Hospital for Children, where my wife works. And of course, our engine builder, the guy that makes all the power, that is Jim Perry at CKT, Chicago Kart Technology. So not a lot to do, but a lot to do, if that makes any sense. It's not a complete rebuild from the ground up, which is what I would have preferred to done. Just strip the chassis down all the way to the frame, had it checked for straightness and what have you. But no more time than was put on this. I don't feel too bad about it, simply because of the fact that this kart has got, we had a few DNFs last time it ran, so that whole season. So, you know, it's probably got a grand total of maybe 4 race weekends on it, so maybe 10 hours total. The engine itself, the top end has only got probably 3.5 or 4 hours on it. We went ahead and put a new ring and piston in it, just because that's pretty inexpensive and pretty easy to do. So I feel pretty good about everything that's going on here. But that's kind of where we're at. Make sure you stay tuned. Hit the subscribe bell, hit the subscribe button, ring the notification bell if you want to keep tabs of what we're up to. Hey, question for you. What have you done? Has anyone else had the same problem with the brakes? What could it be? Rapid suggested maybe knocking a glaze, like maybe there's been a little bit of a glaze buildup, of almost a polishing situation between the brake rotor and the brake pads. But I'd like to know what you would do if you were having the same situation with the brakes I am. Leave a comment down below. Hey everybody, again, thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you soon.